Meow, I'm Tonya Todd, creator of 52 Love. 52 Love began as a blog series, offering one love lesson per week for an entire year of intimacy tips to try with your partner. From there, I hosted the 52 Love podcast, where existing couples came on the show, tried the tips, and shared their experience with it. The book version came out last year, and on February 14th, we have something new to add to the series. 52 Love, A Year of Romance. In this short story collection, 12 authors are joining me in taking characters from our existing works and using one of the 52 Love tips as a story prompt. And to celebrate the release of Volume 1, we are recording author-to-author interviews so that you can hear a little bit about their story process, how they became involved, and how their characters connect to a greater literary universe. We hope you enjoy this behind-the-scenes glimpse. Check out 52 Love, A Year of Romance on February 14th.
How did you come to know Tonya before being involved with this collection?
First, can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay. So I moved to Vegas in 2015 and I started writing my first book in 2017, but I didn't know anyone at the time. Like I wasn't involved in the creative community or anything like that. So around, I want to say 2018, that following year, I wanted to get out more and start promoting my book. So um I met Vogue Robinson, and she had a bookstore at the time. And so I did a little reading there. And she was just telling me about all these cool writers and things. And she told me about the Henderson Writers Group, if you're familiar with them. And that's when she connected me to Tonya to do the dime grinds. And this is back when they were doing it at the coffee shop. I don't remember the name of it, but yeah, I've known Tonya since then, and she's been great. Like getting to know her, and then uh, getting to know all these other people, and her giving me these opportunities, and just always thinking of me, for example, when it comes to things like this. I really appreciate it.
I met her, and it's adjacent. I was briefly a part of Henderson's, but we have a mutual friend who runs the writers workshop, Gregory Compass. He used to live here, and then he's gone off to Delaware and whatnot, and still that community. But we've been friends, editing critiques for some time. So I will see her adjacently throughout, and it's always just like whatever dark romance spicy stuff you're working on, let a girl know, because we're always like, what are you working on, and that kind of thing. So I know she's been very active in, not only as a writer, but I remember the first time I met her and thinking like, oh, she's so lovely and so intense.
Yeah.
Like she's a human but also gothic vampire somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a perfect way to describe her.
yeah. So it was just nice to make those connections through books.
Yeah.
Where I was like,
And
oh,
so cool.
yeah, it's our tribe. It's
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
peoples.
And it's like no matter how much time passes, we always end up reconnecting, through the pandemic, through my transition into being a poet and then being an artist. Like we always find our way back to our little writing tribe.
The people who probably know us better than anyone in a strange way.
Yeah.
All the pockets. Okay, so I read yours last night, which is Blood Love, and you said that is adjacent to Blood Lust, which is your first one.
Yes.
And tell me about
So
that.
So Blood Lust is a short story that I wrote, like a little novella. I wrote it under December Davenport, which is that was my erotica pen name, because I wanted to keep my young adult and my other writing and my poetry separate. But for this anthology, I decided to publish the sequel under Chanel Hardy, because that's what I want to be known for right now. I've kind of pushed December Davenport to the side, but Blood Love is a story of female vampires. they they're not like normal vampires. They basically have to feed only like once in a while. So, but they are not allowed to have relationships with men. So men are like off limits because of something that happened. Like they were betrayed by men way back when, like hundreds of years ago. So men are off limits. But Lemira, someone moves into her building. His name is Jordan, and he owns a bookstore. And she loves books. He loves books. They bond over reading Toni Morrison, and then they just kind of develop a relationship. It's a little bit of a slow burn because I kind of like that. So they start off as just like a little bit of friends with some sexual tension, and then one day they just like go all out. Like they just decide they're in love. And also, speaking of the no men allowed thing, they had a curse placed upon them, the female vampires, that they'll die if they have an orgasm. So that's also the reason why that is also the reason why men are off limits. So Lemira, she's got to fight the urges of, falling in love with this man and wanting to have sex with him, but knowing that if she does, it'll kill her. So yeah, that's what the first story is about. And then they end up defying the rules and running away together. And then the sequel takes place after there's been a time jump.
Got it. Okay. So that's the backstory of that. Okay. That makes a lot of sense for that story, because there's the interesting premise that I caught was like, not only are there not allowed to be male vampires, which I thought that was fun, but the orgasm denial just tickled me. I was just like, that's cruel. Like,
yeah,
that's so good, but so good to have that slow burn kind of thing. I really enjoyed that. Your heading was under fire, yes? Or getting toasty. There we go.
Toasty, yes.
So when in 52 Love, that lesson was getting toasty. What was the question that you were prompted with? It just had to involve fire or heat, or up to you?
I think it was just like, wait a minute. If I'm not mistaken, no, my prompt for the podcast, I believe, was something different, but they let us switch for the anthology. So I picked getting toasty for the anthology. I would have to go back and look at the episode, but I remember what I picked. It was something about like role playing, like me and my husband doing like little notes or something like that. It was something along the lines of that, but the getting toasty is what I chose for the anthology.
Well, now I have to ask, did you do any role play for this story? I know it wasn't the thing that you picked, but the fact that, like, after reading the story, I'm thinking like, oh, I bet they could have role played these two different vampires who are eternally bonded. They're willing to risk everything without any spoilers. You have to read the story to actually make that connection and be with each other. But the fire in there was, when everybody reads the story, you'll understand what we're talking about. So you'd have to read the story to get that little bit at the last. I loved that. Yeah. So mine was, what was it? Oh, Talking Dirty. Dirty Talk.
Okay.
Or anything
so tell me about that. That sounds interesting.
Oddly enough, so this story that's in here, it's called Axios. I wrote a erotic piece way back when called Maid Service, and it had to do with a role play of a secretary and her boss. So it was forbidden love kind of thing. It's so tropey in its fun way, but I really wanted her to have a fiance and to have to do a power dynamic with this very interesting man who was also aware that she had a fiance, that she was otherwise entangled, so could only stick to a certain amount of rules. So there was no touching allowed. She had to verbally command him. So it was a bit of a switch on all the things that he could do and could not do, and how that would translate to, how do I tell my boyfriend about this? How do I make this into a weird kind of menage a trois without them ever meeting or doing anything?
Right.
Yeah.
So is this story, is it technically a sequel?
Nope. This blew up and became its own universe. So this
Gotcha.
became a trilogy. The first book, called The Blossoming, will be out this March/April. And that's a big epic that has its own universe. That has 7 different kink houses that explore different vices and different all manner of that. My background is very much in sexuality and coaching. So
Yes.
any kind of fantasy related bits of like, I really think of these things. Like a person has come to me and said, like, I have these interesting fantasies, but I never get to really play them because either they're too taboo or they could be wrong or shameful or whatever that emotional quandary is. And then putting them in the perspective of how do we use this in a story format to give you the emotional edge toward it. Like explore yourself without blowing up your entire life like a mushroom cloud. So
on a scale of 1 to 10 of like heat factor, where would you rate this story?
15. Like,
oh gosh.
Not this one in the book. This one's just a taste of what they get into. This is the beginning of every possible kink that they could imagine together. Yeah.
And see, that's interesting because for Bloodlust, it was like kind of a 10. But for this story, I actually did tone down the sex a little bit because the anthology was more romantic. So, and I'm writing it under Chanel. So I didn't want to go like crazy December Davenport. I wanted to be more, a little toned down.
Same. There's no actual, let's get hot and heavy with it at this point. Right. It is more that slow burn. I enjoy that too. I don't want to read a story that reads too much like something I could, see on late night TV and just go, oh yeah, okay. Like the relationship, the drive of the motivations between the two people is hugely entertaining. If I don't care about them and why they need to be together but can't be together, then I don't have a reason to stick around. So yours did that for me too. Like I totally got the premise of why they felt that soul bond and what they were willing to do to risk. Yeah, that was good. Okay, I think number 3. What drew you to pick this particular tip, or what is your personal relationship with this particular tip?
So like I mentioned earlier, it wasn't the original. I don't believe it was the original subject for the podcast that I did, but I wanted to pick something that would be easy for me to create a story from. So when I saw Get Toasty, I thought, okay, maybe I can use, because I believe one of the prompts was to use characters from a story that you've written before. So I thought, okay, in this story, I remember, not to spoil, but one of the places that they could run off to where there would be no other vampires was Alaska. So I thought, going somewhere cold, they're in a cabin, an isolated cabin, it's freezing outside. What do people do when they're in a cabin during a snowstorm? They relax and get intimate by the fire. So I thought that's perfect, getting toasty.
I love that. That really does fit with theirs, because I was imagining the carpet, the shag carpeting, and the fireplace, and the whole thing, and just being, we're in Las Vegas. We're like,
and of course, the end to not to spoil, but the end of the story, what happened to them, is also part of the getting toasty thing.
Love it. It was chef's kiss for that one. I think I picked Talking Dirty. Because it's a long distance thing, because there's rules, boundaries, but it's also the thing that I have resisted forever, at least until it became like on texting. So as a writer, I can write my heart out about all the things. I can be all the people and say all the dirty, crazy, taboo-ish moments. And it gets that message across and it flows much better to me. But in real life, that kind of auditory, I have to like dress up a certain way. I have to get myself, it's work to get straight into, let me talk dirty. I have to have a transformation from like mom life and career life to just be that persona for a minute. So I used this as an example of what would I say in that circumstance. with somebody who's not my permanent mate, but I have a different kind of relationship with. Like I can really push boundaries that I would never do in my intimate relationship, my co-partnering.
And do you feel like writing this gave you the courage to what do I want to say? Gave you the courage to approach this in real life where you would normally be hesitant or nervous?
I have done this kind of scene by meaning like I have taken a dominant position more times than I could ever count. So like I came by it really honestly, but more could I do it in a daily it reminded me. Let me just say that. It reminded me that those things were necessary. That I could sprinkle in the intrigue and role play throughout my normal life. And I didn't have to do the full switch to become her and act like her and play like her. Yeah. So, yeah, it made me also very cognizant of how other people receive auditory commands.
Yes.
Like the tone, the vibration, the pacing of everything that I say is very much a story when I'm talking dirty to someone. I want to tease throughout, not give away too much, give them little hints and clues, and then leading up to a sense of, wait, we're going to build tension, plateau, let it drop a little, build more. That kind of tease and denial, well, that's the theme of the whole first book, is very much how much can you tease and how much can you deny before people just break? They're just like, screw it.
Do you feel like you subconsciously self-insert in your writing?
All the time. Everything I can't do in real life, I'm like, I'm putting that in there. Like,
literally.
I don't want to do these things, even though I've done most of those things.
Yeah.
But in a different stage of life, now that I'm midlife, like the 20s were all those things. And now it's just like, all right, let's just be a little more conscious and think about how I could make this in a very fulfilling, satisfying way for all players versus just throwing spaghetti at the wall and see what do I like or not. Yeah. I'm very fortunate for that. Okay, number 4. Did you adapt an existing story or write something new from this collection? We've already talked about that.
Yes.
And then 5. Ooh, okay. Tell us about the source material for these characters. Which book or story should readers check out to learn more?
They should check out Bloodlust by December Davenport. And the thing that I love about this story that I wrote for the anthology, Blood Love, is I feel like it works both ways. You can read the anthology version, Blood Love, first as kind of like and then you can read the first one, Bloodlust, as kind of like a prequel. So I also wanted, because these were going to be characters adapted from another story, I wanted to make sure that anyone reading the anthology could read both, whether it be first or last, and not feel like it's not coming together or it doesn't make sense. You know, I like, because that's how I am. I like to read things or even watch things where, like, if I watch the prequel first, it's cool, and then I can go to the other one. So yeah, I kind of just wanted them to work both ways. So if you've never read Bloodlust, it's not too late. And of course, if you've read Bloodlust, this is your chance to check out the sequel to see what Lemire and Jordan have gotten themselves into.
Is there going to be more in this universe? Because there's such potential of having like a whole tribe of female vampires who have to do a thing.
Say for this story in particular, no, only because I've kind of already explained like their lore and the initial conflict, like men not being allowed and like the whole orgasm death thing. I feel like that's already been solved with these two stories. So there's really nowhere else to go from here. But this anthology did make me realize that I would like to go back to writing under December Davenport, because I do have other stories that I would like to continue that readers have been asking me for. But as far as this particular story with these characters, I don't really think there's much more to say, or like other characters having a spinoff. Like, I'm not really into doing that with my stories anyway. So yeah, this is definitely like a one and done for them.
So December, she writes more explicit, more spice?
Yeah.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
Chanel, what is your main genre for that?
Um, young adult, new adult, and
Oh.
poetry.
Oh, I
Yeah, yeah,
understand. Okay. That would make
yeah.
a lot of sense with doing different pen names then. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
'cause that's
Yeah.
what I was told when I first started writing. They were like, if you're going to write things that are so wildly different for different audiences, create a different pen name. And originally, December Davenport was going to kind of be anonymous, but I decided against that. I'm like, I don't care if people know that I'm writing this stuff. So I basically would promote them, on my same accounts and everything. So yeah, December Davenport is like my rated R, explicit adult stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Chanel Hardy is more like subtle and like I hint at things like sex, but I don't explicitly write about it. Like a
Understood.
fade to black kind of thing.
Yeah, got it. There, it's behind. I think the term is behind closed doors, or it's a
Yeah.
closed door.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. I like all the terminology that they've come up with. Mine is pretty much well, no, I have three different pen names, but Devora Gray is very spicy slash. I have a series with my co-writer, and that's a series for spicy paranormal romance,
Mm-hmm.
and that's very much based off of a nod to X-Files and what we do in the shadows and all the
Oh,
monsters and stuff. It's
no.
fun. It's she's a sex therapist and he's a special agent and they have to solve mysteries together while remaining friends or trying to while there's
Mm-hmm.
all sorts of spooky content. Ghost X is our first one. We just did The Spectral Seduction of Mason's Hole. That's the first book. We're working on number two, and then my fun switch series all everything you could possibly want in power exchange, dominant
Mm-hmm.
submissive switch, and then the houses of king. And then, but I get what you're saying as far as like having to have two different personas and speaking to different audiences, because my
Mm-hmm.
memoir nonfiction is totally different pen name. I deal with grief and love and loss and mom issues and parenting and all that stuff. So those two communities don't need to be together unless they know me really well. Unless they're like, oh, okay, I'm safe either way in talking to this person. Yeah.
Which pen name do you think has been the most successful?
Oh, see, that's hard. For me, the one I love writing the most is the fiction.
Gotcha.
Hands down, the fiction. I can spend hours and days and months and years making this trilogy, the one that I'm currently working on. The nonfiction is bleeding onto the page in a lot of ways because it's so true to life. Because I'm very honest and very raw and self-effacing in that. Like I'll say anything pretty much of like this is the journey of what it is to be a single mom in a certain time frame and all the heartache that goes with that and letting your child develop as you normally would. But they're both successful in their own right with two different types of people.
Right.
I found over the years I have serious fans in both. So I have to make time for both. I know I can't do just one. I have all the props for people who can just stick to one lane and do that thing and do it really well forever. I ain't her. I never
Right.
wanted to be her. Like just to be an artist is to play in multiple media all the time.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And they build off of each other. Like when I'm finished with fiction, I need a break. Then I will do nonfiction and get into that land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And doing December Davenport, because I think under her, I only have one full length novel. Everything else is just short stories. But doing those short stories really challenged me to be very descriptive in my writing, more showing versus telling. And I remember during promo stuff, I would just like clip certain parts of the story to share. And I'm like, this is very poetic. Like this writing is very poetic. So writing under December Davenport and writing stories like I have another one, The Intimate Life of Octavia Wood. And writing these stories really helped me transition into poetry because I'm like, I like writing short stories. I like being descriptive. I like evoking emotion in my writing. And I'm just like, I could probably do poetry. And now poetry is like my dominant thing that I do now.
Oh, that's cool. Do you go on the open mics? I know
Yes.
we have some around town that really excel in that and getting the face to the voice and then the
Yeah.
poetry. I love spoken poetry. When I hear the artist read it in that way and they're pouring all the emotion into it, it just transcends into different
Yeah.
levels. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really changed me as an artist. And
Mhm.
honestly, between my poetry and also doing this anthology, I've been telling people that I'm considering writing a new novel under Chanel because I think my last novel was 2021, like the beginning of 2021. And then I tried to write other stories after that, but they just didn't stick. So I threw them in the drawer and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I might have to retire, but I kind of want to come out of retirement now, write another novel.
Do you know what it's going to be about? You have like
Uh,
that idea that's been tickling the back of your brain, being like, "Tell me, tell me."
yeah, I had one that was a historical fiction, a queer love story, but it wasn't coming together, so I scrapped it. And then I had another one, which was going to be a sequel to my Moonlight series, which is a werewolf fantasy. But again, it wasn't coming together, so I scrapped it. But I think I'm going to do something along the lines of like another queer romance.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's your 2026. It might take over in between all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, is there anything else? I don't know when we started this. I don't even know where to look at the time about how much has gone by. I think that's roughly 30-ish minutes. Yeah. Yes and no. Yeah. Okay. What else do we want to say for
Um,
sound bites? You're probably better at that than I am. The whole sound bite thing, I kind of suck at. I just wing it.
Um, I'm just excited for everyone to read the anthology. I remember when I was first approached about this book, and I'm like, oh, cool. I wrote my story. And I'm gonna be honest, it got to a point where I kind of thought that uh it had like fell under. Like I wasn't sure if we were still doing it. I'm like, whatever happened to that anthology that I wrote that story for? But every once in a while she would give me updates. And
Mhm.
I saw Tonya at the Comic Con in June, and that's when she was like, yes, it's official. Like, we're just wrapping up a few more things and it'll be here soon. And I'm like, thanks, because like off and on, I would just forget about it. Because I want to say, when did we write this? 2023 or 2022?
I
It was
don't even
something like,
remember. I don't,
yeah.
yeah.
I wonder whatever happened to that, but I'm so excited that it's finally here. This is my second anthology um, from someone else. So yeah, I'm excited to read everyone's stories. I haven't gotten a chance because I've been busy with work and painting and doing my other art stuff, but uh, yeah, and we have that event on the 28th of February so
Hmm.
far. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. So yeah, I'm looking forward to everything. I hope it's fun.
Yeah, same here. I love the live events.
Hmm.
Getting to know the other writers, getting to know their work, how much it's tangentially them and not them.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're like,
yeah,
oh, I see you in there. I see you in that
yeah.
story. I get it. I get it. The spices of life thing. Which one is this one called? Oh God, I want to call it 52 Love, and it's not. This is a year
No,
of
it's
romance. A year of
a year of
yes.
romance.
Okay. Okay. Yes, we're very excited for a year of romance to read all the other authors and get to know them. I'm really grateful that I got to talk to you because
Yeah, same,
usually,
same. I can't wait to meet in person.
yeah, and usually in anthologies, you never get to meet. Maybe it's across the world or something. You never
Yeah.
get to FaceTime with people. So I'm
Is there
happy about
only a few of us that are local?
I think so at this point. I think people have moved or moved on, or I'm not quite
Yeah.
sure. But I think there's maybe four of us, 4 or 5 of us.
Hmm.
But who knows how many will pop up from the woodworks.
Yeah.
Once I read them, I'll be like, who is these people? Yeah. Okay. So we did. Oh, you wanna maybe they'll Sorry, Tonya. I know you're going to have to edit all the ums and the let's figure this out. But okay, where can readers find you? What's your website?
I can be found at coffeewinewordsmag.com. On Instagram, you can follow Coffee Wine and Words, which is like my magazine platform. If you're into art, you can follow Chanel is Painting, but Coffee Wine Words is where you find me for all of my writing stuff. And
That's
how
cute.
about you?
I'm, well, Instagram is Devora Gray Author, or you could just go to the website and it's devoragray.com. And that's the entry to all the series. At some point, it'll be the entryway to all the things.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do want to say though that my original website, Hardy Publications, it's gone. It's no more. Everything is Coffee Wine Words. So if you Google Chanel Hardy, I don't have an actual website, but you can find me on Amazon. Like if you Google me, my books on Amazon and Barnes and all that, those will show up. But yeah, I got rid of my personal website to focus on my magazine platform because yeah, running websites isn't cheap. So
No.
I had to make some changes to that. But yep, you Google me and everything you want to know is there.